Hello everyone, I'm Nikki with Fulfill Your Legacy.
Hey everybody, Pastor Tim Breen here, First Reformed Church in Orange City, tellusblog.com.
Yeah, and we're here
out.
doing CORE40. We are actually in
Phase number 7 of 8.
phase 7 of 8. Okay, awesome. So tell us a little bit about this lesson and this section.
Well, let's set up this phase.
Yeah.
So we are lesson 31 of 40, two more big sections to go as we unpack these 40 integral texts in the story of the Bible. And in phase 7, we're looking at how Christians today live into the command of Jesus to tell other people about God. You know, Christianity is not just this sect for people on the inside where you've got to pound on the door and we'll let you in. It's not our place to just kind of sit here as an inert body. But Christianity, following the Bible's lesson, is like rippling outward. And in deed and in word, Christians are always trying to bring more people in. That's what the word evangelize means, and that word has all kinds of bad connotations nowadays, but it really means to share good news, to keep on telling people things that God has done for them and will do for them, and to be joyful in proclaiming this message. The Bible really keeps on sending people out, and the church has that as a mission that we are on. The church isn't just a group that sends missionaries, the church is itself sent. And so we go out into the world.
So I'm going to ask a question. You guys can just, listen for your benefit. But
Listening.
When I hear this, then it was making me think, okay, now let me go through my mind in the Old Testament. Like that it was so about obeying.
Mm-hmm.
And
the law,
basically the law, and and just knowing that God is powerful and all these things. But there's definitely this shift that I just didn't really think about and own.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it,
mm-hmm.
but I didn't really understand. So it sort of passionately hits me a little bit for people who aren't Christian.
Right.
Then they're not being taught this, and so how much are we stepping into this? And do we really think this is New Testament? I mean, this is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, there's just this idea of always inviting. It's like you're throwing a party and you've got an endless amount of invitations you can send, endless number of tickets that you can pass out. Just want more and more and more and more people to be involved. You just have great news that you want to share, and it's for everyone. It is for everyone. It's not about the law. It's about the Lord and the Lordship of Jesus. And that's what Isaiah discovers long before Jesus, but he discovers the power of God in this story.
Right. Right. Okay, so how do we step into this more then? Like we kind of have this. Can I talk about your sermon?
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay.
I preached about this recently.
So you did, and so we had this concept of, it was kind of this awe,
mm-hmm.
and then now cause and effect, almost like then what's next? Which is first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
How does this? Where do you want us to sit with this? Like, how do you want our appeal or our passion to go out and make fishers of men? How do we do that?
Well, awe is a great word. Thank you for using that word. And Isaiah the prophet in this story, I heard it said really, really humorously by another pastor. Isaiah was a guy who worked in the temple. He was a temple worker. And one day he went into the temple, and the strangest thing happened when he went into worship. He found God. Can you imagine having that happen? But that's what happened. He goes into the temple and is just blown away by what he sees of God. God is not small or local or miniaturized. God is awesome in power. And Isaiah never really knew it until that point. He knew all the right words. He knew all the right lingo. He probably did all the right activities, maybe kind of robotically. But he hadn't experienced the blazing holiness of God. And so Isaiah enters into the presence of God, and he's like a jello statue on a hot day. He just feels like he's melting in the presence of God. Like this is all just blowing away all of his presuppositions, and even more than that, this close contact with God is actually going to cost him his life. He thinks, I cannot be this sinful in the presence of a pure God. And he doesn't, interestingly enough, I mentioned this in the sermon, in Isaiah 6, we don't even hear about him just saying, oh God, please forgive me. Oh, I beg of you, I'm so sin. Please, I'll do anything, God. Just let me off the hook for my sin and I'll do whatever. He doesn't even say that. All he can say is, I'm shot. I'm not worthy to be in the presence of this God. But then in this passage, one of these angels, the seraphim, flies to him and symbolically touches his mouth with this coal. This comes right out of the altar. And this fire in the altar could have been the thing that did Isaiah in. You know, fire destroys people. But for Isaiah, it heals him. And then he just recognizes his guilt's taken away. He's not on the hook for what the sins that he had done. He is good enough. He is okay. God has accepted him. And more than that, God could use him. So then after this happens and he's like, your guilt is taken away, then Isaiah hears the voice of God and God says, now who will go for us? Who shall we send? And Isaiah is like, yo, I will. I'm in. I will go. And God sends Isaiah out into the world with a very difficult message. A message not very many people are going to believe. But Isaiah is willing to go, even though it's hard to bring this message, because he has been so transformed by the experience of God. He's like, wow, I am good enough, therefore I have to go. I have to go.
I just feel like, oh gosh, where does that leave
Yeah.
us? I mean, because we've all been transformed through Christ.
Yeah.
And we're all supposed to go do this. And it's a big thing. And I guess I want people that are listening to know that, boy, not everyone is going to go out and do it the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, God didn't have 1,000 Isaiahs out there going and doing the same thing.
No.
But every one of us have been saved, who have been saved, and have a job to do this too. So how do we do that? You know, with our children at home and with our, you know, how do we walk that?
Well, there's lots of different ways that we can share our faith and be people who share good news. We'll probably talk about those in future lessons.
That's so neat. Jumping ahead.
No, but I really think that it does begin with coming to this point of just sort of being overwhelmed by the power of God and the awesomeness of God. As long as you keep thinking of God like Alexa or Siri or Google,
Mm-hmm,
it's just someone kind of like on call. I mean, dial up God when I don't know what else to do. It's not going to work. You have to have, like Isaiah, this experience where you are overwhelmed, overcome by the power and beauty and holiness of God. The word holiness really means the otherness of God, the not like me-ness of God, and to recognize God's out there. That vision, that experience will kind of like kickstart your evangelism, your witness, your sharing. You're like, this is just amazing, and I can't shut up. You know, people try to shut you up, and you're just pulling your hand up because you just want to keep saying something. You're like a little kid who just comes home from his first day at a Major League Baseball game or at the circus or the zoo, and they're just about everything they've seen. Obviously, there's a different level of maturity, but Christians are like, I've been saved, I've been saved, I've been saved. I can't figure, I don't know why. I've been saved, and you can be too. And it's you just can't stop us. You cannot stop us from saying those kind of good news. So if you've had an experience of a church where they're fundamentally telling you what's wrong, the problems, how you've got to fix yourself, you haven't heard the gospel.
No.
The gospel is people who are just like, I just can't, you know, Jesus. It's amazing, and and it becomes contagious. And then when you catch it, that it's just like a virus, and you start passing it on to other people as well. But it begins with that experience. I'm not good enough. Wait, God says you are.
Yeah.
You're perfect. You're amazing. And now go.
Yeah. That is an awesome, awesome way to leave this, and I cannot wait for next week on CORE40.
See you then.